All right, to finish up the practice exercise, we're going to apply conditional formatting. And this basically is similar to the fact that we're going to be changing things, but it's going to be specifically what we want. Instead of coming up here and picking something that's out of a template, we're going to come up here under conditional formatting and we're going to actually apply specific types of formatting that we want. So to start off, we need to select cells D4 through D12. We're going to go ahead and come up here to that conditional formatting. You're going to click and you're going to come down here to New Rule. Then we want to, in the style, we want to pick Classic. We want to do Format Only Cells That Contain. We're going to change specific text to cell value between, we want it to say greater than. And we want to type in 70. Now in the format with area, we want to go ahead and click the custom box. So come down here to custom format. If font isn't highlighted, you're going to need to click on the font tab. And here we want to go ahead and change the font color, and we want to change it to display the pop-up menu which we've got going on, and we want to pick background 1. Next we want to come up here and click the fill tab, and we want that to have the fill pane, and we want to change this background color to accent 1 darker 25. Accent 1 darker 25, there we go. We're going to hit the OK button. And you'll notice here too that this box is a different color. So you can see that we did the custom format. Then we're going to click OK there. And notice here that anything greater than 70 has that darker background now in that area. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and click off to deselect that. Now we're going to go ahead and change the widths of the columns. Now before we would do where we would double click up here and make it on the columns and make it wider to the width of that. But what we're going to do is we're going to drag through column headings A, B, and C above row 1 to select all the columns. So we're just going to, right up here, we're going to click and drag A, B, and C. Those 3 we want selected. We're going to point to the boundary on the right side of column C. So this one right here. And we are going to go ahead and double click. And notice that it's changed all 3 of those at the same time. So we don't have to go through and click, 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 you know, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so now we're going to do where we come over here to the right side of between column H and I, and we want to go ahead and change a split double arrow, and we want to drag it until the screen indicates 10.5. So we're going to click and drag to 10.5. You see how the width says 10.5? So there's 2 different ways that we can do the column width that we figured out. You can use whatever's most comfortable with you. I think double clicking is definitely easier to do. Now we're going to click column D heading. And we're going to hold down command and we're going to go ahead and select E and J. So hold down command, select those 3 columns. Then we're going to go ahead and drag it until it says 7.67. So notice that it made all 3 of these smaller at the same time. Now we're going to change the column widths of, the column rows. So let's go ahead and change those heights. We're going to drag basically 3. So we're going to deselect. On row 3, we're going to drag it until it says 48. Oops. No. 48. So we made this a little bit wider. Then right below 14, we want to go ahead and drag it until it says 27. Giving a little room between the average and the totals. We're going to deselect that. Now we're going to go ahead and check the spelling. So click A3. Go ahead and double click, and we want to go ahead and spell this word wrong, so employee. So we want to spell it EMPOLYEE. Then we're going to come up here to the review tab. Click on spelling. The spelling chart's going to go ahead and pop up. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's cancel that. You got to click on A1. So you got to start with A1 so it checks the whole thing from top to bottom, left to right. We see the employee spelled wrong. Click on that, hit change. We're going to ignore the names because obviously it thinks that we spelled all of these wrong. Okay, so now we've spell checked the entire sheet. You may have more spelling errors, it just depends. Go ahead and get those fixed. Alright, next we're going to go ahead and change the margins, add a header, and we're going to talk about page layout view. So we're going to come up here and we're going to click on layout. We want to change the page setup area here. We want to change the margins. We've done this before in Word, but you'll notice that these are a little bit different. We want to go ahead and choose the narrow. Next, we're going to go ahead and enter in a header, and we're going to change the page orientation. So one way you could do this is you could click on header footer and a little box would pop up to do it that way. But I don't want us to do it that way. We're going to actually come over here to page layout view. We're going to scroll up and you're going to see this blank white area up here. We're going to actually double click in the center, and I want you to put your name. So I'm typing my name right now, but you type your first and last name, then hit enter, and then you're going to type in Chief Financial Officer. Okay, so now we've added a header there. Once you hit the close button, you're going to see how this is going to appear on your page. Next, we want to change the orientation up here in the layout tab. We want to change that to landscape. Notice that it's adjusting how things are going to look in the print layout view. We want to go ahead and center the worksheet contents on the page. So we're going to do that by coming up here under margins. We're going to go to custom margins. Then we've got the page setup box that pops up. We actually want to center this horizontally. So you'll notice that it centers it right here. There was a change there with the horizontal check marked. We're going to hit OK. And then next I want you to go ahead and print this out. So we're going to come up here and we're going to go to File. We're going to go to Print. And you're going to go ahead and print this off. Then we're going to actually print a section of the worksheet. So we're going to select the ranges A3 through F. So A3 through F16. So I just want to go ahead and print this area here. We're going to come up here to File, Print. And over here under selection, under print what, we want to hit selection. So then it only is going to print the selected area that we chose. Okay? Then you can go ahead and click the print button to print the selected areas, but I do not want you to print this one. So go ahead and hit cancel. I don't want you to print that one. Then we're going to click over here back to normal view. And we're going to deselect this range so we can just click off anywhere here. Next, the important thing that I want to show you guys is how to print showing the formulas. So we're going to go ahead and press Control and the accent mark. And that's the shortcut, and that's the one to the left of the number 1 button. And you're going to notice that it shows all of the formulas. So you better make sure that you're doing the formulas and not just sitting there copying the numbers off of my screen after I do the formulas. Okay? So then you're going to go ahead and we're going to print this. So we're going to come up here to File. We're going to go to Print. And under Page Setup, we want to go ahead and come here to the Page tab. We want to go Fit To, and we want this to fit 1 by 1. Hit OK. And you'll notice that it all fits on one page. And I want you to go ahead and hit Print on this one. Now we need to go ahead and change our scale back to 100%. So we're going to come up here and go to File, go to Print again. Remember, we're going to go to Page Setup. We're going to come up here and under Scaling, we're going to adjust to, and instead of 54%, we want to go ahead and do 100%. So you might have to type that in. It just depends on what yours looks like. Then you're going to hit the OK button. I do not want you to print this one, so we're going to hit Cancel. I want to also show you another way that we can make the formulas show and not show. So remember, we did the shortcut keys, Control, and then the accent mark key. You can also come up here under Excel, go to Preferences, and then if you go to View here, notice that Formulas is checked. If you uncheck Formulas and then hit OK, it's going to come back to normal. So now what I want you to do is go ahead and make sure we do one final save, and then load this into My Big Campus under Your Stuff. Make sure this is saved. You're going to go ahead and get the 2 copies that you printed off the printer. Remember, they should have your name in the header, so they should be easy to find. Staple those together and then put those in the basket and turn them in.